I think in the same way that mechanization and automation changed the world in the last century, AI is going to revolutionize the job market. There's a lot of anxiety, I think, in the Latino community around AI. We just have to encourage our communities to proactively expose their children of it and seek more information about it.
That's actress Eva Longoria, who is also a board member of the nonprofit AIandYou. Joining us now is the founder, Susan Gonzales, to tell us more about educating our communities on technology. Susan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
First and foremost, what is AIandYou and what is the nonprofit all about?
Sure. Well, AI is really for artificial intelligence. And I learned about AI when I was working at Facebook, now Meta. And I realized the great things it can do. For example, at the time, it allowed the blind community to use Facebook. And so when I decided to leave to do my own thing, I realized that there was a big gap between the world of technology and marginalized communities. And by marginalized, I mean certainly, you know, Hispanic and people of color, but it's women and LGBTQ and disabled and others. And so I created AIandYou.org to fill that gap and to really educate our communities about these new technologies, because it's happening. You know, Web3 is here. AI is the foundation of Web3 and everything coming. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing, is creating digital literacy programs.
Well, you mentioned Web3. What exactly is that for viewers who may not know?
So Web3, if you think about the internet, so it started as Web 1.0. And then it moved on to, you know, we had maybe like flip phones, and now we can do a little more on the internet. So now we were in Web 2.0. Now we have phones and we can interact, and now we're moving into the Metaverse and cryptocurrency and NFTs. And Web 3 is really about bringing together the virtual world with the physical world. Like the digital world and the physical world are coming together. So if you think about it, think about, you know, like, with artificial intelligence behind everything and behind all Web3 right now, it's going to allow us to have these immersive experiences. So rather than just being us looking at a screen, now we can be a part of the experience. That's what the Metaverse is about, right?
Yeah.
So it's happening now, and the beautiful thing is that there are also opportunities coming that we don't even know, right? There's new job opportunities on the creator side, for example, of the Metaverse, or people don't understand that these days, applying for a job online, it's all about artificial intelligence, even before it reaches a human. So what we're doing is creating digital literacy programs to help people understand, here's how to make the technology work for you, right, when you're applying for a job. Or here's what you need to be careful about with cryptocurrency, because there's a lot of scams out there, you know. So it's just interesting that a lot of people don't, I think it's up to 70% of people today don't know what an NFT is, which is a non-fungible token. And at the same time, even as recently as a couple weeks ago, like Starbucks, major companies are launching these marketing campaigns around NFTs. So the question is, how do marginalized communities benefit or participate in these programs if they don't know what it is?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm glad you brought it up. You mentioned marginalized communities. How is AIandYou bridging that gap between AI technology and the communities that, you know, we're talking about here?
Yes, we're super excited to be launching curriculum, Web3 digital literacy in easy to understand language. That's the point. Because when I was in technology, I realized I was often talking to engineers and I would say, oh, so what you mean is,
you know, breaking it down.
Right, and then I realized, wait, there's a huge gap here. And so it's me leading as the instructor, if you will, having conversations like this and just talking about what people should know. You know, like, for example, applying for a loan online is great, but there are also pitfalls and there are biases and there are things people should know, and maybe you shouldn't click when it says click here. Maybe that's not such a good idea. You should probably work with a reputable financial industry or institution that is committed to inclusion. So there's a lot going on behind technology, and so we are launching these digital literacy programs through partners that are actually in communities, in the community centers and in business centers all around the country.
Well, you referred to yourself as an instructor, which I love. Why is it so important to educate so many communities when it comes to technology and, like you said, the divide?
Well, if you think about it, the digital divide started, you know, decades ago when the internet came to life. And there were certain neighborhoods that got broadband access and certain neighborhoods that didn't. And we saw during COVID, it's still real. You know, kids couldn't do their homework because they just didn't have internet at home. So that was the beginning of the digital divide. And looking ahead, and even today, we are at risk of creating a greater digital divide, especially with Web3 technologies, if we don't educate marginalized communities, which is a huge part of our population if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's about access still is an issue, but with Web3, people, you know, 30% of people access the internet on their phones now. They can experience Web3 technology right now. They can play on Roblox, you know, and be immersed in a game and create their own avatar and play in the game on their phone. So it's really about access to information. Again, how can we expect our communities to like ride this wave of Web3 and fully participate in the metaverse and everything else that's coming out if they don't understand the fundamentals? So that's what we're doing in easy to understand language.
Yes, an easy to understand language, and that is going to get the fastest results. But how do you maybe bring on board people from these marginalized communities and encourage them to learn more about AI?
So we're partnering with national organizations that represent marginalized communities. And so you're coming out really soon, announcing our partnerships. And these are organizations that have affiliates all over the country. So they run digital literacy centers. And so the folks that are already going to these digital literacy centers, now they will be able to access this new curriculum focused on Web3 technologies and looking ahead. You know, we're going to be doing another series on like AI and the elderly. Like what kind of tools are out there for the elderly, and really focusing a lot on the metaverse. You know, Meta just yesterday announced some amazing things that are coming. One that's super exciting is that it's going to be coming to the laptop, you know, which is great. But again, you know, we need to help people understand what it is.
100%. Well, thank you so much, Susan, for joining us here on Live in the Bay and giving us some more education on AI. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. To learn more about AIandYou, we'll have a link on our website at liveinthebay.tv.